Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop, Emerald Planet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President, Executive Director of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. And we're looking around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And also we're looking for the people that are making a difference to develop unique programs in many conditions which are very hostile and also at the same time may be in conflict zones. And this is one of the topics that we have covered from time to time in the past, but not have really had a focus on this. And so we actually are reaching into the country of Afghanistan. Most people around the globe watching this will understand the situation, or they think they understand the situation of Afghanistan. But we're here to say that there are many absolutely fantastic NGOs, non-governmental organizations, that are operating there and are involved in many best practices for agriculture, renewable energy, healthcare, education, and just many other projects and activities that are making a difference in the lives of millions of people throughout Afghanistan. And I have two gentlemen that are here with me. One is sitting right here. He's all the way from Afghanistan, actually from Kandahar. This is Abdul Nafi Olomi, who is a co-founder, deputy director. And then we also have coming in, actually I think by iPhone, not necessarily by Skype, but Ferdinando Rollando, who is the director, and both of them are with the Alpistan-Afghanistan. And this is a project, Nafi, if I can call you that, that actually focuses on high mountain communities. Is that correct?
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam, for having me at the studio today here. This is very rewarding for the work we do in Afghanistan. Yes, Alpistan does work in the very high mountains of Afghanistan, and that is an idea that me and my colleague Fernando had to help those communities, especially the communities that are very prone to avalanches during the winter, because we get heavy snowfalls there. So me and my colleague, who is a famous ski guide, we decided to provide this assistance to these communities.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's an area that you don't really think about, but also when you think about the mountains of Afghanistan and all the war and the turmoil that's been going on the last 30 years, how that actually much of the mountainsides have actually been taken, have lost their trees, and to think about what you're doing now is you're going back, focusing on these communities and really helping them to regenerate and renew everything that was around them, maybe even 30 or 40 years ago.
40 years of war in Afghanistan has, as you rightly say, destroyed everything in that country, starting with our social fabric and our landscape. Everything got destroyed, unfortunately. And the trees, we had like mountains full of trees when there was no war, and they were much more fertile and much more covered with trees, and those trees were all gone for various reasons. That, of course, brings the avalanche issue to a very, very significant problem. And that is why me and my colleague Fernando say that as we were surprised to see no NGO in Afghanistan or no institution in Afghanistan that really focused on avalanche control in Afghanistan.
Well, looking at this whole thing as far as the avalanche control, and of course out of that cascades many other things as far as development is concerned. But Fernando, I want to bring you into the conversation and thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for your hard work in identifying the other NGOs that we're going to be focused on. But I know you're from Italy. Italy is a very famous country for skiing and being involved in alpine areas. Why did you focus on Afghanistan? There are many other countries that have alpine climatic zones, not just Afghanistan.
So I had I had an occasion to visit Afghanistan professionally 3 years ago, and it was the opportunity to start this work. We can say that a few places like Afghanistan has such a huge difference between the potential of the mountain and the life condition. So we started the Alpistan project in Afghanistan because we think that here, what we call the Alpine revolution, that set of value of cultural idea that made possible a modern life in rich mountains like in the US or in Europe could be possible here.
Well, Fernando, I'm going to try to bring up some slides you shared with me because these photographs are fantastic, and if we can bring these up, we'll keep you on the screen as we talk back and forth with you and Nafi, but also we'll see if we can bring up these slides at the same time. But looking at working with Fernando in Italy, what are you seeing, Nafi, because you're native of Afghanistan? I've heard you say about this collaboration that you feel like the country needs with many other countries. How do you see this as an example, a best practice for the future of developing Afghanistan as really a modern state?
I think this is extremely important. As we talked about the war in Afghanistan, during the war, our educational system did not really function properly, and we need experts from the international community to come and work together with Afghans, not only in areas of avalanche control, but also in other areas. And that is extremely crucial because we lack those capacities to some extent. And I think it is very, very important for the international community, for various countries in the world, to have their experts come to Afghanistan and work together with us and share their expertise and their experiences and their knowledge with us. That's very important.
Fernando, looking at coming from Italy and going into Afghanistan, what do you see as how you're really gaining and growing in your profession as far as cross-country skiing, and also working as far as dealing with new people that know absolutely nothing about avalanche control and work, and how that is actually enhancing your skills that could be shared with other countries that have similar conditions?
Yes, it is still very exciting, very new. The challenges are still difficult but possible, I can say. For example, now we are facing what is new for them, like the extensive use of GPS, the extensive use of mapping techniques, you can say Google Earth based, and to be able to locate a place with Google Earth, to reach it and to communicate from there, because there is no signal using a satellite phone. This is fundamental for us, and to share this with young Afghan. Nobody of our team is older than 23. And they are not familiar with those beautiful gadgets, but they are quite fast in learning. So we did last week. We will repeat next week. We go in places that are really difficult on a technical point of view with ski. The last picture we uploaded on Facebook are picture of really extreme ski condition, and we need to cross that mountain to reach communities, and we need to do it with a high-profile communication standard, because it is what they need to face the next avalanche.
Okay,
we don't have a disaster in this week, but we can have tomorrow.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Nafi, looking at the skill sets that someone like Ferdinando brings into Afghanistan, how do you see the interaction with the people in these local communities, some of these very remote, very isolated, and yet it seems like they very eagerly are embracing the new technologies involved with skiing, telecommunications, and also opening their communities up for such as ecotourism? Yeah.
It's new for them, and that makes it very interesting for them. And the people in Afghanistan are quite eager to learn. And for them, they have been living in these hard conditions for years, for decades. And they know that avalanche is something that many people lost their lives to. So when they see something that, like us coming to them, and we share this as an idea with them, we don't just say that this is our idea, we're coming and we want to impose it on you. We share it with them and say what it is, and have their ownership and have their understanding. And when we talk to them about this, they're very happy because it's about them. It's about saving their lives. It's about empowering their communities. And they showed a lot of openness and a lot of eagerness to learn that. And we were very happy and never had any problem with the communities that we worked. They embraced it, and they are quite happy and energetic and motivated to work about it. And it is moving very well, and that is quite astonishing to see that eagerness and that interest in communities, in protecting their communities from various winter-related emergencies and disasters. That is amazing, and we're very happy. But the most important thing in here, as I said before, is their ownership and their interest in it, and seeing it as something for them, not as us coming with a new idea. It's something they need.
Ferdinando, we're going to lose you in about 30 seconds. How do you see your long-term impact in Afghanistan? 30 seconds, got to be quick.
To get rid of the avalanche, we need at least 5 years. We cannot promise that we will behave normal with the avalanche next winter. So we took the time to make it. We want the first result in next weeks, but it's a long process of training, and we will do in 5 years promise them.
Well, we're going to lose Ferdinando. Anyway, Nafi, thank you for being with us and sharing about Afghanistan. We're learning something very new about the positive things that are going on in your beautiful country. Having visited there, I really do enjoy Afghanistan. Thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald Planet.
Around the world, 1 out of every 3 women will be beaten or otherwise abused in their lifetime, often by a family member or loved one. A future free from violence. It's all she's ever wished for.
Did you know you have the power to stop children from joining gangs? You can help a father find a job and home for his family. You can assist a woman who can't afford the medicine she needs to live and the home she can't live without. You can choose to make a difference in our community. Support Volunteers of America, and you can help improve the lives of nearly 2 million Americans each year with programs and services that help individuals and families overcome their challenges to become as independent as possible. Support the programs that are working in our community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
For some folks, saving for the future is easy, but for you, it might take a little more effort. Saving for your future is your responsibility, and there's a lot to save for.
I never thought of that.
Like your child's education, perhaps uncovered medical expenses, or just to be sure you can live the way you want when you retire. The time is now to save for tomorrow. Save now or work forever. The choice is yours. Choose to save.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we're looking around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And regardless of the size of the nation today and where they're going to be in the next 10 or 15 years, the planet itself is going to have about 2 billion new people on it. And so how are we going to integrate all 196 recognized nations and then another 15 or so territories to enhance the quality of life of these 2 billion new souls as the planet faces about 9 billion people by 2050? And so we have people that are working in a long-term conflict zone called Afghanistan, a nation of Afghanistan, and they're doing fantastic work. And so we have two gentlemen with us that are helping to introduce some of the NGOs, as it is 3 a.m. In the morning in Afghanistan, and getting Skype from there is not easy, but we have a gentleman here from Afghanistan. His name is Abdul Nafi Olomi. He is the co-director and deputy director of the Alpistan. And then we have coming in by actually iPhone is Ferdinando Rollando, who is the director of Alpistan in Afghanistan. And they're going to be giving us comments about the organization, the founder and executive director of what's called Skateistan. This is a really very interesting program about how you use skateboards to bring in at-risk children to provide educational opportunities and give them leadership skills. They can go out either to advance their education or even create their own business. Oliver Percovich is the head of this, and this is a group out of Australia. So we're going to come up with the first slide here, if we can do that, and show you the logo for this, if we can bring up the Skateistan. And I'm going to go actually right now to Afghanistan. So Fernando, you introduced us to the Skateistan. Tell us a little bit about this. Well, we're missing the audio coming in from Afghanistan. And what we've learned about Skateistan while we try to get Fernando back is this is something that was created in a very unique and different way to provide the children with an opportunity to get off the streets into protected areas, even provide them with the necessary nutrition that they need so that they can actually learn the basic educational skills. Fernando, are you back with us?
I hope so. I can hear you perfectly. So the point of Skateistan, the common point, is to give joy to young people as a way to give them a reason to be better citizens in the future. This is the message that I got from Ollie, from all the team of Skateistan. The reason why we consider our inspirer. So also in the name, tomorrow they will be to our home theater. We'll have important guests tomorrow in Alpistan, and they will have a short talk about this principle that is common with Alpistan. We want the young boy in the mountain has fun with ski, as in Kabul they can have fun with skateboard, because this joy in the young age is so important as a reason to be better citizen tomorrow.
Well, this whole thing, Fernando, is that when you have long-term conflict areas, and there are a number of nations on Earth, we're using Afghanistan as an example in this particular program, but we'll have other societies on in the future. but for children to feel like they can actually have fun, relax, be safe, and at the same time gather educational skills that they can use for a future really is very important. So how do you see Skateistan, Fernando, incorporating all of these principles together so that children feel like that they really do have a future?
I go often to Skateistan also because they have a climbing wall, the only climbing wall in Kabul and in Afghanistan now, I guess. So we train youngsters also for rock climbing. Really, the importance of quality. The building of Skateistan is sound as the building of Alpistan, as the equipment of Alpistan. Is so important to give this impression of solid to young people, to feel that not everything is broken and decaying, to give them an environmental relaxed sound, good. So it's not only the sport, it's really the situation we play to be relaxed, to be solid.
Yeah, looking at this, Fernando, it's I'm going to alternate between these two photographs that you were able to receive from Oliver. But you have this young lady, as you said, she's standing in the middle of the skating area, very solid, lovely, and it gives you a sense of permanence, but also excitement, and at the same time you have this group together really obviously enjoying themselves. So how is this sense of community being developed through Skateistan that you believe is important to the future of the development of Afghanistan?
You know, those people, if they are not in Skateistan, this young, fantastic boy, I know because I climb with them often, if they are not there, maybe they are begging on the street. So you can understand which is the difference. And really, excuse me if I speak again about Alpistan, but just to make an example to understand, imagine the poor boy in the mountain who has nothing because it's winter and can do nothing, and discover what is ski. This is a revolution. So we are so close to them because really we go in the most difficult contest, the street beggars for Skateistan, and the poor community in the remote mountain for Alpistan is a kind of extreme situation, but we can rely with the deep culture of this country, with the deep quality of these people, and we can get incredibly fast and good result as Skateistan is doing, as we hope to do very soon.
Nafi Olomi is sitting in the studio from Afghanistan, and Nafi, it's just fantastic to meet you and have you with us on the Emerald Planet, and we're going to follow up years to come. But looking at just like this slide here, I mean, these people are on the street literally by night, one moment, and all of a sudden they're in one of the most advanced skateboarding facilities on the planet Earth. This is amazing. How do you see this transition for these young people that are 1 minute in the street, next they're in one of the most advanced facilities available?
Dr. Sam, thank you very much for having me here again. This is inspirational, and this gives them hope to the future, and this gives them a lot of sense of respect to them, that they are part of the community and that they can transform and that they can prosper in their life. And I see that You know, these children has been missing these opportunities for a long time. They've never had it, and this great change from going from one extreme to something very, very new for them in their life, that gives them inspiration. That gives them hope in the future, and that will make them something good for the country in the future. You know, that is a fantastic thing that we can have for a country like Afghanistan, to inspire its new generation.
I want to go back to this slide that we just had up there of these young ladies that are involved with the Skateistan. Looking at this, Nafi, probably when you were born, you're still very young. But you probably couldn't imagine this would be going on, you know, around Afghanistan in different areas where you have this new technology, people from the street being involved in that, and at the same time they're actually learning educational skills they need to prepare for a better life. So how do you see them integrating these various skills as Afghanistan itself is changing and growing, and is integrating itself into the world community?
If 10 years ago, something like this would be unimaginable in Afghanistan. And with the start of the international community's intervention in Afghanistan, that brought a lot of new things into Afghanistan. And we see a lot of these happening in the country, not only in the sports area, and not only in the, it happens also in the education. It happens in all sectors of life. And this will give the world that Afghanistan is trying to do its part in order to integrate in the international community. We are doing it. We are open to new ideas. We are open to new technologies. We are open to new people, you know, and that gives me hope that the international community will understand that we are doing our part to integrate ourselves with them. And we're not isolated, we're not strange, we're not just a corner of the world that has remained closed for ages. We're opening up, and we want to be part of the international community and the global community. And that's, I think, rewarding.
Well, I want to end with this particular slide, and Fernando, we're going to be back with you shortly, but I want to finish with Nafi. Looking at what is going on, all this change that's happening in Afghanistan, and many people are, you know, it's a real open debate. Afghanistan, is it going to make it into the, you know, world community? Is it going to keep standing back from that? But this photograph, we can bring it back up, really, I think, attests that Afghanistan is moving forward. I'm sorry we lost that slide, but it's just, there we go. I think it's fantastic. This tells the face of the new Afghanistan.
It does, because we are moving forward, and we have come a long way. It doesn't mean that we don't have challenges ahead of us. We do have challenges ahead of us, but I think the spirit is alive, and the people of Afghanistan are ready to fight those challenges and get themselves out of those
as we create the Emerald Planet.
Osama bin Laden calls getting nuclear weapons a religious duty.
Today, materials that can be used to make nuclear weapons are stored in more than 40 countries.
Sometimes protected by just a chain-link fence.
Yet not enough is being done to lock down these materials
before terrorists steal them. Why did we learn all this?
My mother,
my son,
my sister-in-law
were all murdered September 11th.
Help protect America.
Together we can. Please join us.
The stem cell issue is being debated throughout the country. Truth is, most everyone has an opinion, even if they don't know the facts.
Let's stop arguing and start really understanding the potential of stem cell research.
For us and for millions of Americans living with disabilities, get the facts.
Call 1-877-842-3442 for free information from the Stem Cell Research Foundation. That's 1-877-842-3442.
Following the tragic events of September 11th, there have been hundreds of violent attacks against innocent Americans.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
Remember, please stop the hate.
We're stronger when we are united.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
One nation under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty
and justice
for all.
In America, there's either room for everyone, or it's not America. Don't pick the wrong fight.
Let's keep America land of the free.
Stop the hate.
Planning a home renovation? Put this at the top of your to-do list. Because after 10 years, none of you are protected against tetanus and another potentially fatal disease, diphtheria. A minor injury, such as a cut or a scrape, can put you at risk for a tetanus infection. And while safety gear offers some protection, an up-to-date vaccination called the TD booster is the best insurance against tetanus. So get the TD booster. If it's been 10, do it again.
And welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. and the United States, and looking around the globe at those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference in the 21st century. And we're looking at the country of Afghanistan and a long-term conflict zone, and what lessons can be learned from there. What kind of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, are operating in this country that's been ravaged by war for over 30 years. And at the same time, there are just many fantastic programs that are going on at all levels of society. So whether you go out into the countryside and putting in irrigation systems and roads and allowing for the very best of the world has in agriculture, putting in connecting arteries, expanding the airports, or providing the health care and the other infrastructure and necessary services such as education is all there, and yet very few people hear about it. And we have two gentlemen that are sharing for other NGOs within Afghanistan. Sitting right beside me from Afghanistan is Abdul Nafi Olomi, who is the co-founder, deputy director. And then coming in by iPhone all the way from Afghanistan at 3 in the morning is Ferdinando Rollando, who is the director, and their organization is called Alpistan-Afghanistan. And Fernando, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And Nafi, glad to have you in the studio. And let's go back to this slide that we have here, because I think people will be amazed to look at the modern operating theater. And this gentleman that heads what's called the Emergency NGO, Emmanuel Nannini, who is the program director. And this is a very expansive Italian health care system that actually now goes across Afghanistan. And Nafi and Fernando here are sharing their information. Nafi, I'm going to start off with you. Looking at health care in Afghanistan, even in the area of war, and you have one of the highest concentrations as far as landmines, you know, on the planet in your country. And so what is the importance of having this very advanced healthcare system but being spread across Afghanistan?
Oh, it's very important because we do have a lot of victims from the landmines, and we do have victims, war victims, you know, that there are a lot of suicide bombings in the country, you know, happens from time to time, and roadside attacks and even accidents, you know, traffic accidents. And most of these injured victims, you know, these victims go to these kind of facilities, and these are very important because, and they work together with our healthcare facilities in Afghanistan. We do have like our public health security, public health institutions that are working, but they're not sufficient, and we do need international assistance in this area. And people like Emergency, ICRC, and some other big organizations who are providing medical assistance. MSF is in the country, they're providing medical assistance, and some of them are looking into long-term solutions. Some of them are providing emergency response, like for emergency, as it's obvious from their name. They provide emergency assistance. You see in the country, we have them in Kabul, we have them in the north, we have them in the south, we have them almost all over the country in areas that are very difficult for others to move and work in there. And when there are victims, people take them there because they provide good services. They have the sophisticated equipments, they have good doctors, they have good medicine. And that all supports a lot. And they have our Afghan fellows working with them, and they learn from them. And that can be something very good for them in the future. They can go to Afghan healthcare institutions and work there. So I think it's extremely important, and the work they are doing is great, and that is something we need.
Well, looking at, Fernando, I'm going to come back to you in just a few minutes, but I want to talk with Nafi for one more second. Looking at the notion as far as the health clinics, I know that Emergency NGO, they have these very sophisticated healthcare centers in the major cities, but also they're fanning out across Afghanistan in these healthcare and local care facilities. Can you tell us a little bit about how that is important as the first stop to provide the health care, and then only then, if they need something much more complex, they can be transferred into the major population centers?
This is extremely important because most of our communities are very cut off from the urban centers. Roads are not in good conditions. And victims, most of the time, need immediate first aid assistance when they are in bad conditions. And these facilities that are put up in remote areas are extremely important because they are taken first there, they're taken care of a little bit and put into a condition whereby they can be transported to a more complicated and sophisticated facility. So it's extremely important. It's extremely important because of the lack of the roads and other transportation means. So it's extremely important to have these outposts in remote areas in order for those outposts to take these victims to larger clinics.
Fernando Rollando, who is coming to us by phone from Afghanistan, I know you're working throughout most of the mountain regions of Afghanistan. And what do you see? Emmanuel is a fellow countryman from Italy. And what do you see as the importance of bringing in this type of international healthcare service, but to aid the long-term development of a country like Afghanistan?
Sure, and I want also to apologize for Emanuele Nannini, who is in Panjshir. In Panjshir, emergency is the hospital. They will give soon to the state the beautiful hospital they built over 10 years ago in Annaba. So Emanuele is there because this transition is absolutely not easy, but it will be done. It is a long-term project. They don't want to keep the hospital forever, and they feel ready to do it. Is a very, very important thing to give a perfect hospital with Western standard to the local community in the mountain. The presence of Western doctor is getting less and less. Sometimes they have a problem. Also, the director has to move there. We cooperate with them in an unofficial but very, very solid way, because they have a first aid post in the mountain that is not reachable for several months in the winter on the other side of Anjuman Pass. So we are traveling. I did last week, and I will do next week again. We are traveling the Anjuman Pass to have a connection with a community that has no medical assistance during the winter.
Well, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and actually you have an NGO working with an NGO to reach in these communities, because you have your Alpistan, and then you have emergency, and you really are close collaborators in providing this. So what do you see as the impact as a person coming from a very sophisticated, service-oriented society like Italy into Afghanistan, where they see collaboration among disparate organizations to really provide health care and job opportunities and even ecotourism in communities that in many cases are totally cut off from their surrounding communities or even the central government itself?
Well, for emergency, an aspect that makes us so close is the quality standard. Emergency don't make any compromise. Surgery is surgery, full stop. This we can do the same with avalanche or with skiing. we cannot apologize in the fact of the long-term conflicts or whatever, not to be at a very high level of quality. This is the importance and the speciality of emergency. They carry their structure in a way that sometimes is misunderstood, like is cut off from the community. Is not true, but is true in the sense that they cannot have any compromise about the quality in the surgery. So they don't want to have any talk with any political or governmental institution, and this is another reason why we introduced you to emergency. They are another inspiration for Alpistan.
Nafi, looking at this photograph of people that are actually supporting emergency NGO and, of course, other NGOs as far as Afghanistan is concerned, what types of skills or attitudes do you see being shared by such NGOs that you believe is going to be important for the future of Afghanistan as it really does take its rightful place among the community of nations?
There are enormous skills and expertise that can be shared with us. In the case of emergency, of course, the medical expertise are extremely important. We have extremely talented and extremely professional Italian doctors working in the emergency hospital. I've heard this from many people in Afghanistan, and those people are working very closely with our medical professionals in Afghanistan, and that is on-the-job training, and it's extremely important, and that is going to remain in Afghanistan. It's something that the emergency will not take back with it when it closes down in Afghanistan. It will remain with us, and those expertise are extremely important, as I said before. And that does not happen only in the medical sector. There are NGOs from the international community that are working in various areas, and we learn them from them in various areas. They work in the education sector, they work in the agriculture sector, they work in the business sector, they work in all sectors that are important for us. And we learn from them in all of these sectors, and that is something that will remain in Afghanistan, will eventually change Afghanistan. And we want to capitalize on that and have our own educational systems also strengthen those which are strengthened right now, and they're doing a great job. And I think with these experiences practically shared with us will change our lives.
Well, we're almost running out of time, and Nafi, you're with me here, but looking at this collaboration of these two very excellent Italian NGOs, what do you see as a best practice among these two, but across all NGOs?
The two very quick, expertise that they can share with us. As I said, with the emergency, it's the medical expertise, and with Alpistan, it is various, disaster management expertise.
As we create the Emerald Planet.
There's more than just books at the library.
There's more than just books at the library.
Excuse me.
There's more than just books at the library.
Il y a plus que de livres à la bibliothèque.
A lot of great books here today. There's more than just books at the library.
I know.
There's more than just books at the library.
I don't want to be hooked to a machine.
I want all the medical treatment available to me.
I wouldn't want my family to have to make this decision.
My doctor knows what's best for me.
An advance directive is your life on your terms. Talk with your family. Decide what's right for you. Then put it in writing.
Documenting my wishes today means my family won't have to make heart-wrenching decisions later.
To learn more, visit www.putitinwriting.org.
1,200 American youth run away from their homes every day. The National Runaway Switchboard is here to help. 1-800-RUNAWAY. If you are a runaway, thinking about running away from home, or a parent or guardian concerned about issues facing your child, call us 24 hours a day. 1-800-RUNAWAY. In times of crisis, hope is just a phone call away. 1-800-RUNAWAY.
We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States, looking at 144 different nations, looking at those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we look at countries that are in long-term conflict, how do we provide the quality of life, a standard of living that actually is going to enhance the people that are currently living there and reduce the levels of conflict? And we know that conflict starts by many different reasons. It could be a lack of natural resources, conflict over religion or ethnicity. But at the same time is how can people of different tribes, religions, socioeconomic backgrounds actually share and bring about the best practices. And so the Emerald Planet is looking across the globe, and one of the areas that we're beginning to explore is what can countries that are in long-term conflict teach other countries that actually have far less conflict within their own borders or with their neighbors. And we have two gentlemen that have been most gracious to share with us. We have Abdul Nafi Olomi, who is the co-founder, deputy director of what's called Alpistan-Afghanistan. And then also his colleague and co-founder is Ferdinando Rollando, who's actually coming to us by iPhone from Afghanistan. And they are going to be discussing and giving us some commentary on the Aga Khan Development Network of Afghanistan, which I find is just a huge organization with over 80,000 employees and reaching into actually a number of different countries. But this information is provided by Ahmed Muslim Karam, who is the communications officer. And Nafi, looking at what Aga Khan and other organizations like this in Afghanistan, what do you see as the importance of these development corporations, both the NGOs, nonprofits, and even the for-profits?
Extremely important. They bring a lot of expertise and they bring resources to a very poor country, a country that has suffered 30 years of war. And they are working across the country in various areas and in various sectors. Aga Khan Foundation is working in the health sector, they are working in the education sector, they are working in the business sector, they are providing cultural support, and they're doing a lot of great stuff that I don't know all of them, but they're doing great things in the country, and that is extremely important. We benefit from their resources that they bring to the country. We benefit from their knowledge. We benefit from the experiences and their commitment and dedication. That's great.
Yeah, I'm going to go now to Fernando. Thank you for being with us all the way from Afghanistan. And Fernando, you introduced us to Ahmed Karam of the Aga Khan Development Network of Afghanistan. And from your perspective and traveling around the country, what have you seen from some of the benefits of such a very large and famous NGO?
Well, in the remote area, in the mountain, they are often the only existing structure. What is focus is the humanitarian section of Aga Khan Development Network. Is the only existing organization in the border with Tajikistan, where there are the main problem of avalanche and communication for the Afghan mountain community. So it was completely logical to cooperate with them. And I know them since before the beginning, because I've been hired by Aga Khan Foundation for my first ski project in Afghanistan. And they are somehow mountain people because they are somehow connected to a minority that being more peaceful than the other is more in the mountain than in the other place. So very long-term historical reason make as Aga Khan is more existing in the mountain than in other place. What they are doing is very good because it's really sustainable. They don't start a project if they don't think to be able to go to a hand to keep it going by itself.
Well, Fernando, looking at the Aga Khan Development Network of Afghanistan, they are in so many different spheres of the society. So they're doing the humanitarian, education, small business development, all the way up to agriculture and other traditional areas. Looking across the whole platform of the network, what do you see as maybe 2 or 3 areas that's having the greatest impact on the greatest numbers of people in Afghanistan?
You know, I insist on the mountain because the 70% of the country is mountains. So I really pretend that the mountains are keys in Afghanistan now. Because where is big, we live next door to the main building of AKF, Aga Khan Foundation, in Kabul. So they are active in the main town, but what is more remarkable, they are active where there is a very few. So, for example, they do 150 villages in avalanche training on a very community level without modern technology. We are going to cooperate with them because we bring a higher profile of technology in maybe 10 of the community. Nafi was not yet informed, but I guess he will agree. We decided to train the Aga Khan Development Network for avalanche in the summer. We make a camp for them in the high mountain to give that more technology that we bring with us. But they give us the backbone of the organization in the mountain because they are really in any village.
Well, Nafi, looking at an organization as large as the Aga Khan Development Network and in collaboration with your own Alpistan, what do you see as the benefits to Aga Khan to be actually collaborating with Alpistan?
Well, Aga Khan is, compared to us, they're very big. But I think we as a small community-based organization, we can be of a great help as well. We are very focused. They're working in a large area. We're very focused in our field. And we can provide very focused expertise in our field. And I'm sure they'll be very happy with that and will support us because we're very much into a specific problem.
This is the avalanche.
This is the avalanche problem, and which we slowly want to bring into futures, ecotourism activities as well. Slowly develop it to that level, and I'm sure that will be of a great benefit. Collaboration is always good. Coordination is always good. Between small and big, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We need to coordinate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fernando, I'm going to bring up another slide here, but I want to talk with you about the notion as far as agriculture, forest restoration, soil remediation. I know this may be far afield from your skiing and the avalanche development, but if you can have more trees covering the countryside, then you can actually hopefully reduce the number of avalanches that are plaguing the country. So how do you see, and this is the real question, is how do all these disparate areas being woven together through an organization like Alpistan and Aga Khan so that the whole community benefits, not just those involved in skiing, not those just suffering from the avalanche, but the entire community and, of course, across Afghanistan itself?
Absolutely, this is the good question. The mountain community want to be an example. So Alpistan. So Stan means the land of, Alpi is the Alps, the oldest civilization in the high mountain that became modern, that became efficient. Through ski, now we sell a lot of cheeses. I guess also in DC it's easy to find Gruyere or Emmental or Fontina, I hope. So we want to introduce more advanced agriculture in the place where we go to protect from the avalanche and to teach ski. The mountain cheese is the end of an agricultural process that means better grass, better irrigation, better house for livestock and for people. So Alpistan is already active in pushing the more technology on dairy to have better cheeses. Better means that they can be sold farther. The progress in the Alps became when we were being able to sell the cheese in the big town and then abroad, and then to make as an industry that is family based, but has the same result of any industry. So each ski teacher in the Alps is connected to farmland somehow, and me personally, yes, I am. And whenever I go skiing in this place, I think what we will do soon about improving the agriculture.
Fernando, we're going to lose you. We're absolutely out of time, and thank you for being with us on the Emerald Planet. And Nafi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having
us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you having you here.
Thank you.
And to have you all the way from Afghanistan is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. It's been an honor being here.
Yes, really enjoyed being here. And thank you for introducing us to Fernando. He is an absolutely wonderful person.
He is a wonderful person.
And he's doing great work. And you as well as we create the Emerald Planet.